Money talks.
Here comes the money.
Welcome to another edition of Bacon MMA, where Bacon makes the picks and you make the money. A couple weeks ago, we had a week off. You know, it's very rare you get a week off in the UFC world, but a couple weeks ago, we had UFC Shanghai. The parlay didn't hit, but overall, our picks did pretty well. And then even in the parlay, I said, that main event, don't just put on the hometown hero. No. You gotta just put Caio out there, because the odds were almost similar. And I thought that Johnny Walker was dangerous enough, and one leg kick kind of did the trick. But we move forward. We got UFC Paris coming up. Every time the UFC is in Paris, the crowd goes insane. WWE was just there last week, also went insane. It's just the France crowd brings the energy, man. Brings the energy. We got a lot of French fighters on here, and I think the French fighters kind of have tough matchups. Let's just jump right in. UFC Paris, Imavov versus Borralho. Let's see who's going to win. We're going to kick things off in the women's strawweight division. We got Shauna Hughes. My pick, Hughes. I'm not going to sugarcoat things. Bannon's just not that good. She's kind of trash. She's not UFC level. She got a lot of holes in her game, and Sam Hughes is going to exploit them holes. Not like that, though. Hughes is a veteran. She's faced a much higher level of competition. She has a huge experience advantage. She's landing 4.75 significant strikes per minute, and she's not afraid to get in there and get dirty. Bannon's defense is questionable at best, and Hughes is a volume striker who's going to be in her face the entire night, and she's a volume grappler, right? She's just a fighter that is always going to be in your face trying to push the action. So I think it's a mismatch on paper. I think Hughes is going to prove it in the cage. I think she's going to overwhelm Bannon with either her pressure or her volume striking and just get a very dominant decision win. Next up, we got a welterweight scrap and a half between Andreas Gustafsson and Rinat Fairkhatinkov. I can never say that last name, but we're just going to go with Rinat because we're picking Rinat and I'm taking him. Don't get me wrong. I love watching Gustafsson's fight. He's an absolute berserker. He is a madman. He is wild. He's a ton of fun. But you just can't go crazy every single time at this level of sport. You know what I mean? The guys at this level are just so good. And Rinat is, in my opinion, a very good fighter. The UFC is just a different beast, and you got to be smart, where Renat's a machine. He's a powerful striker. He has a granite chin. He has unbelievable takedown defense. He's only absorbing a couple significant strikes per minute. His defense is just a brick wall overall. And I think that Gustafsson's wild style is going to open him up. And I think Rinat might even find a home for a big shot and clip him, right? Maybe even get the finish. Where it's just Gustafsson, just at this level of the sport, man, you just can't go wild every single time. His style is so high risk, high reward. And I think Rinat is just too fundamentally sound to let that pay off. So we're going to go with Rinat here. And I wouldn't even be surprised for a finish, but let's just go with Rinat straight up. Middleweight time. We got Brad Tavares going against Robert Bresic, and I'm all in on the vet here. I'm going to go Brad Tavares. Let's be real. Tavares is in a different league when it comes to experience and activity at this level of the sport. He's been fighting pretty consistently for years. He's faced top-tier competition. He has a rock-solid 81% takedown defense. So that means he's not going to get taken down easily, right? And in the cage, he's more active than Bresic. Bresic just hasn't shown me enough, man. He doesn't do enough to win rounds in the UFC. He could be too tentative, and against a veteran like Tavares, that's going to be a death sentence because he's the one who's really going to know how to win those close rounds, right? If Bresic's just not being active, Tavares knows, okay, one big moment's just going to steal this round. I think Tavares is going to exploit that. Tavares is just going to outwork him, outland him, and just be the more dominant fighter for maybe all three rounds. I could see him getting a 30-27 out of this. I think Tavares is going to show him what it means to be a professional in this game. And I think even though Tavares always didn't have that consistent success in the UFC, he has had success in the past, right? Where I don't know if Bresic's going to be a guy who's going to have much success in his UFC career. So we're going to go with Tavares to get the win on this one. We're rolling with the vet. We're rolling with the vet. Now we go back to the welterweights. We have Sam Patterson going against Trey Waters. I don't like this fight at all. I would not touch this fight with a 10-foot pole. Don't pick it. Do not pick it. But I have to. So I'm going to go with Sam Patterson here. It's not going to be a big in-depth breakdown. I just think that Patterson's a little bit more well-rounded. He has a solid submission game. He's not really landing too many significant strikes per minute, like 3.5, right? Waters is dynamic. He's huge for the welterweight weight class. But I think Patterson is going to be able to drag the fight to the mat, make it a little bit more ugly. He knows how to grind and control a fight a little bit better than Waters does. And I think that's what he's going to do here. I think he's going to negate Waters' striking by getting in close, trying to get things to the canvas. Patterson's going to find a way to get it done, I think. But I could also see him getting knocked out cold. So don't pick this one. But if we have to, we're going Patterson. We got another welterweight fight. We got another toss-up. And honestly, in this one, I'm going to side with Rhys McKee getting the win over Axel Sola. Now, I've been saying this for a while. I think Rhys McKee is criminally underrated. I really, really do. He's had a tough path in his first UFC run. He's on his second run now, but he was facing guys like Hamzat, right? He was facing decorated vets like Alex Morono. That's a brutal welcome to the big leagues. And if you look at his stats, he's a certified volume striker. He's landing almost 5 significant strikes per minute, and he throws heat. Now, his defense could be a little bit better, sure, but he's been in there with some killers, and he's learned from it. This is a guy who's been tested by fire, and I think he's matured as a fighter, right? His second UFC run has been a little bit more successful. He's coming off of his first UFC win in his last fight. But I think his constant forward pressure and volume are going to be enough to overwhelm Sola here, who's making his UFC debut on short notice. He's also a lightweight moving up to welterweight for the short notice fight. A lot of pressure being in his hometown. So I think that this is just a good recipe for success for Rhys McKee. So we're going to go with McKee getting the win on this one. Let's talk heavyweights. Because we got Marcin Tybura going to head-to-head with Ante Delija. Now, a lot of people think this is another toss-up. I don't. I really don't. You want to talk about Delija's resume in the PFL, right? Going against top-level competition there. Let's talk about Tybura's resume, right? Let's talk about what Tybura has done in the UFC. He shared the octagon with guys like Tom Aspinall, guys like Sergey Spivak, right? He's been in there with a murderer's row of top-level heavyweight competition. And he has a pretty well-rounded game. He has 48% significant strike accuracy. He has 75% takedown defense going against a guy who's a one-dimensional fighter. Delicia's just trying to take you down. And that's all he's going to try to do. Yeah, he's a tough dude, but he's new to the UFC here. He doesn't have the experience inside the octagon. Tybura's a veteran. He's very savvy. He has a well-rounded skill set, and I think that's going to be the difference maker here. We're going to go with the big level of Polish power. We're going with Marcin Tybura. Now we're in the light heavyweight division. We got Umar Sy going against Bredson Ribeiro. And my pick here is going to be Umar Sy. Now look, this one's pretty straightforward. Sy's just the better fighter, period. You can't argue with the stats. He has 100% takedown defense so far in the UFC. He's only absorbing 1.8 significant strikes per minute. That's ridiculous. You're only touching this guy 5 times around. Even though he's going against a guy who's very aggressive. But when you look at Ribeiro, he's way too aggressive for his own good. Right? And in his last fight, he just got KO'd a couple months ago. Right? It was early June. He got knocked out. So I think this quick of a turnaround against a guy as solid as Sy is a recipe for disaster. I think Sy's going to be too powerful, too composed, and too much to handle. Right? Now, he's another one where a lot of these fighters who are so clean and perfect technically, they don't give enough output, right? They don't do enough. But Sy's going to be in his hometown. I think that the juice from the crowd, they're going to be singing the French national anthem. It's going to be hard not to want to throw punches. So I think that Sy's going to be technical enough to avoid Ribeiro's aggression, and I think he's going to catch him. Maybe not get the finish, but I know he's going to get the win. So we're going to go with Umar Sy on this one. This is a fun featherweight fight right here. We got William Gomes and Robert Ruchala. I'm going to go with Gomes. Look, he's a straight-up stud in my opinion. I think he's so skilled, and honestly, you never know what you're going to get with him. But listen, he's another guy fighting in his hometown. The crowd is going to be electric. They're going to be screaming for him. They're going to be singing the national anthem, just like they did for Sy. This crowd in France is unbelievable every single time UFC comes there. So I think that he's going to be able to do enough to beat Ruchala. He's another one, great takedown defense. You're not going to get him to the mat. And if you do, I think he's going to be able to get right back up to his feet. And I think this fight might be a highlight reel waiting to happen. So I'm going to ride the home field advantage in back-to-back fights. Some of the French guys, I don't know how good they're going to do, but these last two, I'm feeling real good about. Gomes and Sai. I like these two a lot. And this one, we're going to go with Gomes to get the win over Ruchala. Now we're on the main card, and this is where the fireworks begin. We got Patricio Pitbull going against Los Kita. And this is a tough one, but I'm going to go with Kita. And I know what people are thinking. Pitbull's a legend. He's coming off his first win against Dan Ige. He's been active in taking fights for the UFC since he signed there. But let me tell you something. He's not active enough inside the cage. His striking volume is just way too low. And I think Kita's going to capitalize on that. He's a young, hungry lion with a ton of momentum. He has a killer instinct. And he's not going to wait around for Pitbull to get comfortable. He's going to get in his face. He's going to push the pace. And he's going to force the action. I think Kita's aggression and superior activity are going to be enough to sway the judges and get him the win. Now, what really scares me here is Pitbull's veteran savvy, right? If he kind of sees, all right, this is danger on the feet, he's going to take it down, or he's going to at least try to take it down. So I hope Kita had a very well-rounded camp. I hope that he's able to keep the fight on the feet, because if he does, man, this guy is a killer. This guy's an absolute killer. I could see him finding Pitbull's chin and really rocking him, really hurting him. Because even in the Ige fight, right, Pitbull beat Ige, but Ige hurt him. And I think if Kita hurts you, you're going night-night. You're going to sleep. Give me the newcomer. Give me Kita beating the legend in Pitbull. We got some light heavyweights. We got Modestas Bukauskas going against Paul Craig, and I'm going to take Bukauskas on this one. He got pretty good takedown defense, right, 77%, and in his last fight, he was able to even fight off Kutalaba's takedowns. Where Kutalaba, even though, I mean, Paul Craig is one of the greatest grapplers in MMA history, right? Just pure grappler. But if you look at wrestling, Kutalaba is a much stronger and better wrestler than Paul Craig. Just pure wrestling, not grappling. And Bukauskas was able to fend off some of Kutalaba's takedowns. So I think that that is going to go a long way against a guy like Paul Craig. And if Bukauskas can keep this on his feet, it's going to be one-way traffic. Craig's entire game plan is to get the fight to the ground, where he's a master of submissions. But Bukauskas' defensive stout, he got 3.26 significant strikes landed per minute and a 51% striking defense. And I think he's going to be able to land shots on Craig. He's going to avoid getting taken down. It's a striker versus grappler matchup, you know, the old classic UFC. But I think the striker gets it done in this one. The strikers have been getting the betters of the grapplers as of late, minus the Hamza fight. But it's just, when you're at this level and you're able to train with guys who were all Americans, right, who maybe aren't even pursuing MMA, right? They're just at the gym to train. It's just, these guys are just getting so good at takedown defense, right? So I think that Bukauskas is going to be able to keep it on his feet and really damage Paul Craig. Bolian Aki versus Mason Jones. And my pick here is going to be Mason Jones. And look, I get it. This is another one. It's a real toss-up. A lot of these fights are super duper close on paper, in my opinion. But I think Mason Jones is just too well-rounded. He's a guy who can mix it up and adapt to any situation. He's got a 4.24 takedown average per fight, per 15, and with 52% accuracy. So he's a legit threat on the ground, but he could also hang on his feet. He's hanging up 5.56 significant strikes per minute. Oki's a knockout artist with a ton of power, but I think Mason's ability to seamlessly transition from striking to grappling, back to striking to grappling, like, I think it's just, that's going to be the difference maker in this fight. I think he's going to keep Oki guessing, and that's how you win these close fights. I think Mason Jones is going to show his versatility and get a nod, but I could also see this being like a split decision, right? This is one of those fights that I believe is so close on paper, and I think it's going to play out as such. Or it could be a fight where Jones is up 2-0 and Oki gets the knockout in the third, right? There's a lot of ways this fight could play out, but we're here to make picks, so I'm going to go with Mason Jones on this one. Next, we got a lightweight fight that is supposed to be a banger, but I think this is going to be one-way traffic, because we got Benoît Saint Denis versus Mauricio Ruffy, and give me Ruffy. Give me a Ruffy. Don't give me a Ruffy. You know, I want to stay awake. But I'm going to go with Ruffy because I'm anti-BSD. I'm not a fan of Benoît Saint Denis. I'm really not. And I remember the Dustin Poirier fight. Everyone was on him. And I said, you're going to give me Dustin Poirier at plus 185? Give me that money every time. I'm not a guy who puts big money on fights. That was probably one of 3 fights in my life that I really put big money on because I don't think BSD's that good. I think he's overrated. I think he gasses out. I think that his style, unless he beats you in the first round, you're going to have an easy time with him. And when we look at Mauricio Ruffy, he's one of the nerds. And the nerds have shown they can grapple too. We all thought they were strikers. All these fighting nerds are showing they're also phenomenal grapplers as well. I'm looking at a guy like Renato Moicano, right? And everyone talks about BSD's grappling and how elite his grappling is. Moicano beat him up. He out-grappled him. He outstruck him. He beat the hell out of him. He made BSD look like he didn't belong in the UFC. Ruffy's a vicious striker. He's shown that he could finish almost anyone he's in the cage with. His striking accuracy is insane. So if he could avoid the takedown, I think he's going to light up BSD on his feet. And I think the BSD hype train is it's on its last legs. It's almost out of steam, and Ruffy's going to be the one to derail it off the tracks. We made it. If you stuck around for the video this long, thank you so much, because now we're at the main event. We got Nassourdine, Imavov versus Caio, Borralho, and I'm going with Caio here, and I'm feeling good about it. People keep talking about Imavov's fight against Izzy, and yeah, he did catch him on the chin. He did finish him, but in my opinion, I don't think he was winning that fight. I really don't. I thought Izzy was up. I thought Izzy was looking good, and you know, Izzy's at this point of his career where like people are even questioning if he wants it anymore. And I thought he was tagging up Imavov for, you know, the first couple rounds until he got caught. And I think Borralho is just too well-rounded, right? He can be a takedown machine, right? He's shown that he can take guys to the ground. He showed that he can dominate guys on the ground, but he just doesn't choose to, right? He's only averaging like 1.5 takedowns per 15 minutes. He's trying to stay on his feet, but against Imavov, I think he's going to know like, oh no, I have to bring this to the ground. But he's also only absorbing a little bit under 3 significant strikes per minute. So he's very hard to hit. Borralho is. I think he's going to be able to mix it up. I think he's going to get to the fight to the ground if he needs to and just out-muscle Imavov, right? He's a physical freak. And I think that that's going to be the difference maker here. I think that he's going to be a problem for Imavov. I think it's just one of those things where it's a bad matchup. I think that Imavov beats a lot of guys in the middleweight division, right? But he lost to the Stricklands. You know what I mean? And I think Borralho would dominate Sean Strickland. I think Borralho is going to be one of the next champs. It's tough with Khamzat being the guy right now. It's tough with Khamzat being the man because, you know, it's like once in a generational type guys. But in any other era, I could see Borralho doing very well. And if Khamzat does have a couple more fights or retires, or with Khamzat's inactivity as of late, if he takes a long time and they do an interim title, I could see Borralho being that guy. I have a lot of faith in him. He's the leader of the fighting nerds, and we've seen how they have taken over the sport of mixed martial arts. So I'm gonna go back-to-back nerds here. I think the French are gonna have a fun time as the card goes in the last 2 fights. It's gonna be pretty miserable. It's gonna be pretty miserable in Paris. Those are the picks. That's what we're going with. I'm feeling good. I'm feeling good about this card, but some of the odds are scaring me, man, because some of them I'm like, oh yeah, that's an easy pick. But then they're only like minus 180 something. You know what I mean? So like there's a couple picks that I'm feeling good about, but the odds makers are making me not feel as good. So let's just jump right in to the Bacon Bets parlay. We got Sam Page, Sam Hughes. We're going to go with Sam Hughes on this one. I think she's way better than Bannon all around. Then we're going to go with Umar Sy. I think he's the cleaner striker. Ribeiro is coming off of a KO loss just a couple months ago, so I think that turnaround is just way too quick. And then we're going to go with William Gomes. I think that he has enough tools in the toolkit to get the job done against Ruchia. So we're going to go with Hughes, Sy, Gomes. That's the Bacon MMA parlay of the week. Let's make that money. Let's do what we got to do. Make sure you like, share, subscribe. Thank you to our producer, John Roy. And always tune in We have the picks. We have the picks. If you have the money to lay down, we'll make the money more money. Do what you got to do.
Money talk.